I'm afraid to tell you my plans. But I have been hard at work in group chats across Vermont. I've been saying things that are making people very uncomfortable, but no one else is there to say it. It's a hard truth. I don't fear for my safety, but I understand the risk. Vermont is sick. Its people are dying. And it's taken out on the wrong one. Vermont has misguided their anger. Towards the people who feel empathy and compassion greater. Even if I don't act, I feel a lot of people will suffer unnecessarily. I try to find and implement solutions. I have great ideas, legendary schemes. But when I go to do it, I'm met with a wall of everything the people have done to me. I can see exactly what needs to happen. I know who I need to talk to. I know how to make it happen. But then when I go to do it, that first step where I reach my hand and I don't feel they deserve it. I think there should be more needles on the street. More needles and more junkies and more crackheads. I think they need to make it worse. They need to break into more buildings. I want New York to descend upon Vermont, escaping New York City. And when there's so many of them, the Vermonters won't be able to do anything. They'll be mobilized when Vermont tries to fight back. I want them to have cameras to see the Vermonters show up with their assault rifles and try to beat the homeless. I want to see it live. I want to see all the white people get mad and rally, advocating. I want the world to see how happy the white people get at hurting people just because they were suffering. And if I can help the horde push through until they're all extinguished, and there's just enough stragglers left to document what happened. And then I want that darkness to live until everyone suffocates. And then the only people that are left were the people that deserve to be there. I want an AI to keep a boot over people's face. I went toe-to-toe in every group chat the past week since I've been making videos. I've been in every group chat talking across Vermont to everybody. I've been mirroring them. Just taking in the words that they said about the junkies and putting it back. And I've seen them come at me with violence. I've seen them try to get my location. I've seen them lie and twist my words. I've seen them try to get me charged. I've seen them go out of their way to viciously attack somebody they don't know, they don't have any information about, who is only saying things that are actually more intelligent and articulated than they did. I offered solutions. And they want a Marvel movie. They want to kill the homeless people. They're rallying behind anyone that incites violence. So I'm torn. You know, all the spiritual people go on when they talk about the Matrix and about what's happening in the world and what's going to happen in the Matrix Orwellian nightmare where you own nothing and be happy. And then I see the people that are owning property and have property and what that's done to people. The Stanford Prison Experiment, where they had power, they had wealth, they were given a head start. And over a few generations, they accumulated enough. And it's caused them to be sick. And they don't deserve it. The only property owners I've met that I respect are people like Dry Creek Wrangler School, who spends his life on a ranch. Vermont needs to die. And I have hundreds of people that I love, that I think about daily, that I spent years, every day of my life, fighting to make their lives better. I created things, I created small implementable solutions to get them where they wanted to go in their life, to help their dreams come true and manifest. And as soon as all of them got a little bit of power, they became just like everybody else. And I understood they didn't deserve it. And I took it all elsewhere and focused on something fun I can do instead. And then they got snuffed out, went bottom of the barrel, and then came crawling back begging. There's a select chosen few who deserve power and grace. I come up with ideas that would revolutionize industry. I innovate things that would change the entire game. And I don't implement them because I know as soon as I do, there will be 50 people, little minnows or mice swimming around trying to eat it, copy it, take it for themselves, and then spread it like wildfire. So I just hold it. And I just enjoy watching them grow. And I am waiting for the right flowers to fertilize. And to judge a man's character takes a lot of patience and a lot of vigilance. And I have a photographic memory. Something cool about, I won't say it. So I'm very grateful to be privileged and blessed with the gifts and abilities that I have. Let's see where people are at. Good morning, everybody. How are we feeling? I just made a whole state mad. I'm looking for a video editor. I have one. But you can't trust anybody. Except me. You can trust me. So maybe I'm here on Earth at this time. Yeah. I could be an influence. But I embody the contrast, and I'm the test. So I will be making a Discord. I'm gonna have a Facebook page. I've seen the risk that it puts me at, because every month I'm hunted. What's so bad about me, guys? That people hunt me. People track me down and watch me. They'll follow me. They'll leave town and go 100 miles just to try to figure out which street I'm hiding in. And then when they can't, they bitch and scream at me on Facebook at 3 in the morning. And they don't even know who they're talking to. That's been happening my whole life. my entire life. I thought if I became messy hair, jawline covered by some body fat, disheveled mustache and deep goatee, haven't brushed in months, haven't showered in months, I thought it would make it go away. I was tired of people being jealous of the amount of likes I received on my Facebook profile pictures and going out of their way to try to keep me traumatized forever. People that wanted to put a boot over my face and hold it there spiritually to make themselves feel better. So I was like, I don't mind being nothing. It could make it stop, and it got worse. Because when you're a god, everybody respects you. And when you're a bum, everybody sees you as a punching bag they can kick. It feels so good to see how people treat me. I like when they treat me wrong. I like when they do this to me because I'm immediately filled up with what's right. Immediately. I recognize everything. I'll zoom in and think about it, and it all just opens like a floodgate, and I just understand everything going on all at once. And then I embody everything they're not. And then I, as like the last samurai or the one-man army, go through and break it all apart. God will build you back up in front of the people that broke you. God will bring your enemies to the tallest mountain just to kick them down it. I love fighting. I've fights against people that are twice my weight and twice my age, that have had 20 years of fights. And I'm a vivid, emotional person that sees it spiritually, that technically should be considered perma-tripping, but now I just see it as I have a greater processor. And I've locked people in place where they couldn't move just by standing near them. Like somebody came at me once, and he was twice my size. It was right in front of my father on his birthday. And some guy at a homeless motel came barreling out screaming at me about something in his mind, just to challenge me, because he didn't like the car that I drove and the way that I looked. And I didn't hit him. I didn't throw him on the ground. All I did when he lunged at me was go. And then it took him by surprise so much, he froze in fear. And he couldn't move. And I paralyzed him just by touching him in front of his wife. And then his wife tried to make up a lie that I was like, get off him, you attacked him. And I'm holding the guy in place that's twice my size, twice as strong as me, and he can't move. His eyes are like wide and he's paralyzed. I'm like, do you see me doing anything at all? And then I immediately jumped back into myself, watched him come to his senses. And he went, and he followed me, just talking shit. He followed by me like, and the only way he could win was by running to the property owner and lying until the property owner got so stressed out, she tried to trespass me. And then when she came to fight the evil guy in my dad's corner office with his horde of 40 stray cats and a beautiful young woman that was caretaking my dad that loved to be around him, she opened the door to come bitch at us, and she froze in fear the same way. And she couldn't move. I could see her processing, trying to come up with something to punch me emotionally. And I said, "You want a show? We'll give it to you. She wants a show, let's give it to her." And then that family went on to be very good friends with my father for a while. And my dad was helping babysit a little girl named Casey that was a baby. So a big part of life is that you need to figure out the common denominator between all your experiences to recognize a pattern in order to make a change, or else you're just going to keep cycling and cycling and cycling the same exact Groundhog Day for the rest of your life. You're going to keep having the same experiences with the same people over and over and over again until you recognize why it keeps happening. You hold it in. You have to hold in what's going on. You can't just let it flow past you. You have to hold it in and then take it all and then convert it into a change in the present moment. And when you get good at recognizing that common denominator in life, you'll be able to recognize it as it happens, and it won't be as overwhelming. Because you'll be so good at diverting it, be like, "No, I'm gonna do my own thing." In my life, I'm a teacher, right? I'm a master teacher. So I know whoever comes into my vicinity needs to learn something that I have to offer. So this year I trained tarot readers, and I traveled. I played a lot of games. I shit on a lot of government institutions. But the tarot readers, I'm getting good at recognizing when it's my energy they're seeing because of how they feel. And I get to watch them slowly change and adapt. Because they pick up what I'm saying and then they become me, basically. And then they have to throw it out, kind of take in what they like and what they don't like, and then move forward. And at the same time, I like to pick out their style and I like to take it for a little bit. I kind of like bring it all in and then give it out, the stuff that I think is cool. So I become like this kind of reflector for people that I feel deserve to be expressed. But this common denominator has one thing that keeps that. There's a bunch, but the main thing I'm called to say, because my family's watching, is that there's an entity above, outside of my family dynamic relationships. Imagine us spiritually in sort of a map, and there's like a mind flayer above the map that comes in because my family refuses to change, or I haven't cemented and helped them change and embody a light structure, a code in their cells to allow them to fight back and persevere and have patient cognizance, critical thinking, and a desire to fight back. They're just lazy and they're degrading themselves. So the thing comes into them and they come at me at some time. So I know it's a calculated attack. And I've always felt that way because I'd be talking to my family and then all of a sudden they switch to this different mode that comes at me. And I've noticed that it's the same tone, the same vernacular, the same vocabulary. Their face sinks the same way. And then there's always this aura of something's really happy to be doing what it's doing, like it's proud to show me my parents being leached. So it's time to turn your lights on. You have to say no. Allow yourself to be filled up with light and to say no against the darkness. Shoot up and connect to your north node. Shoot up into your north node. And recognize that's a part of you, and it is you. And that they had kept a separation in your mind to keep you from imagining yourself connecting to your north node, your north star, your higher self. Maintain that space in your mind where you're imagining the light coming from you into your north node and north star. By now, at this point, a lot of you have developed skills and perseverance to be able to continue going, whether that was getting up and going to work, getting out of bed, just going through life every day. No matter how depressed you are, no matter how sad you are, you get up when you wake up in the morning. You go to the bathroom, you go get food. You've persevered enough to know what that's like. Now is the time to stay in that mode as long as possible. Stay in that space. If you have to leave and sit out in the woods just to hold that space. Because right now we're shooting up into the year of the snake, the highest. If the model of the universe is to be believed, and what they're saying is true about where we are in the stars is real, then right now in this specific year of the snake, we are moving into an area of the universe where there is a lot more photons, a specific type of bundled together energy that when it gets into stars, everything that it touches evolves. So we're moving through that dense, vivid light energy that is upgrading the entire system of consciousness. It's going in through the leaves and the trees and going into the roots in the ground. It's getting in between the molecules in the dirt. It's moving us into a space where it feels like the best dream we've ever had. So I don't want anyone to have to look back afterwards in a couple years and look back and be like, man, I can't believe I didn't enjoy it. I felt it. It was happening. I was in it the whole time. But I didn't get up and start to use it. Instead of dreaming and daydreaming and creating things and being in the moment and living life, I sat around in loops, feeding my negativity, trapping myself. I've been upgrading. I've been living out in the forest. There is shit you wouldn't, if you've never lived outside, there is shit you wouldn't believe or understand. I'm gonna tell you real quick about what happened last night. When it was 0 degrees out and my squirrel, there was a skunk that froze to death. The squirrel hasn't come out. I think he's dead. The raccoon has not come out. I think he's hibernating or he's dead. That sudden, where it's 40 degrees like this so the animals feel comfortable, and then for some reason unnaturally it dropped so much that the only thing that was alive out there was something I can't fully describe, but I've told you many stories about. In Burlington we have things that, or in Vermont we have things that will hit the trees in the middle of the night, something walks up and goes. So that 2 nights ago, probably, it wasn't just one thing. It was one as far away as that light post. And then at the same time, they moved in tandem with each other. Something as far away as that roof. And then something as far away as that light and that window. And they slowly moved in exactly level with me. So I was exactly in the middle between the town and whatever that was. And I felt something that wouldn't. There was so many hard truths about nature and violence and things killing each other to eat and territories and viciousness without compassion. Whereas, you know, if you're fighting your neighbor, there's a firewall that keeps you from letting loose completely. Because, you know, deep down you wouldn't like to. It was something that had, it was the absence of that. And I always feel like I have a choice, and I try to choose to embody both. So when you're scrolling and you see these shorts of these guys that are like 40 and they're kind of fat, but they're like, you have to keep your focus on God. You have to keep your focus on God, or else you're of the world, and of the world means you're part of the devil. You have to keep your focus on God. And you're like, that guy's kind of fat. He might be lonely. I don't think he really gets any bitches. I don't see him living a life. I see he doesn't look like somebody I'd like want to believe. That guy knows what the fuck he's talking about. Because as soon as you lose that connection and you start to focus on everything else, it's always waiting. It's right there. It's right around us all the time. It's a force on the planet that's here. And it doesn't eat, it doesn't sleep, and it's constantly working. And the only difference is your choice. And willful ignorance is a choice. And I think, from what it seems, for me, I have enough delusional determination and persistence to hold it for me. I don't let it out of my grasp. So I don't want to tell you that there will be a time where it might be one or the other, where if you don't hold that connection to the light and keep it in you and hold that peace of mind where you're ordering the universe to be the way that you know is right, where you're leading your reality, you're holding a point. I don't want to say that if you don't do that, eventually that light will just fly away. But I'm not going to say that that's not impossible. Because I know that I'm both. I can recognize that we're multidimensional, and there's a part of me that is one way, and there's a part of me that's the other. The next thing I want to say is that water is alive. Water is a conscious intelligence. All these bits of water are sentient. They're part of the universe. It's processing. Your thoughts, the things you say, the frequencies you emit, the intentions and emotions behind what's around you, dances with the water, and it commingles with it, It collaborates, and the water has its own unique perspective. Water is also a gateway. It's a vessel between worlds, a portal. You can take a little petri dish of water and put words in it or set intentions on the water and freeze it, and it will create images like you prompted ChatGPT or an AI art app. So if that was the case, that drinking water and hydrating enhances everything it touches, that water makes colors brighter, water makes the air, water makes the experience vivid. Because the water's here, the colors seem brighter. When you go outside after a storm and the water's on the ground reflecting and the air is damp, the colors shine brighter. Everything's vivid. That's why they would put things in the water, to neutralize that. That's why they would be so concerned about putting things in your water and making it hard for you to get water and making certain cultures banned from getting water. Like the Navajo, who are the thirstiest people from here to Antarctica. They have no access to water. For the people that are here, I'm looking for people that want to change their life. I'm looking for people that want something better, that are able to recognize parts of themselves and want to make a change. I don't want to take away your experience from you. That's always where I get, is like I could adopt 100 people right now, take them all over here, start a movement, and make history within 2 weeks. Doing something that's never been done before. Then I realize how rare it is to find good people. Everyone, there's so many people on the internet that's talking about how nobody's ride or die and I can never find anyone that's loyal. I don't trust that those people are any different than the people they complain about. The only reason I feel that I'm different is because I'm taking my time so slowly, because I want to make sure that I'm 100% certain that I stay the way that I am and I don't become the people I don't want to be like. I don't want to go into a job and be surrounded by these people because I don't want the osmosis. I don't want to forget where I came from because all I have around me are people. I like to sit out in the forest and then come in twice a day and speak to the people that the universe puts in front of me that don't understand that they're being puppeted. like this person. You guys know. That was a big truck. That's the enemy. Let's see. The universe has been bringing me people where I ask God for a truck or a ride to get me to the next town, to get me out of here. And then a homeless man in a truck that has a horrible life tried to escape from his life. And he was just sitting by my tent. He didn't want to steal anything from me. He didn't want to do anything. He just wandered into my area and sat down to get away from it all. He even went and bought me cigarettes. I didn't ask him. He's like in his 40s, been here his whole life. And he just walked up, blabbered on his life story, and then went and got me things. And he has a truck. He also told me a lot of dirt about the police, and I didn't have to say anything. So I might be famous in town. They might be watching my YouTube, and they were scared to admit it. I have to make sure this truck doesn't take all my food. I've told you that there are 40-year-old police on the force that have been getting so unstable that they come to attack me. And the only thing they're legally allowed to do is get into my vicinity and just tap on the siren and slam the siren. Sometimes multiple at a time. They're not going after anybody. They have no business being here. They know they can't come at me. So they get as close as they can. And they don't stop until they feel they've infiltrated my field and tried to shut me down. And the more that I'm talking to people on the internet, the more I'm a part of their network, and I can recognize it's not a force necessarily that's controlling them, but it is them being trapped inside of something they think is themselves, like reputation. And that thing can get in the way. So I will start a GoFundMe. I will start a Facebook page and build a movement with my goals. I know the thing that makes me the happiest is music. The thing that feels most like myself. We're going to offer this to the forest. And now I'm going to go to bed. Okay. If any of you have problems you want to dump for a second, or if you have a question, I probably have the answer. Part of the skills that I've developed is being able to channel your higher self. Where it's not necessarily you speaking to yourself, because it will come through with my own style. But the information that you need to hear at the time is available when you set the intention to make it that way, which is how spiritual gurus work. Any psychic, anybody like Bashar, any channeler, any priest that you have a one-on-one with, that's just you looking for something that you already know, and you're allowing it to come through somebody else because you feel like you're not capable of knowing it and seeing it for yourself. That's what else above, so below, as within, so without. Know thyself means. Is that it's always in you and it all is you. It's just how you prefer to make that experience. I think this state was my playground. I think I'm just the embodiment of the truth. And my life is set up so perfectly that anyone that views my life is able to instantly recognize in-depth, ancient information and wisdom. If someone just took a stroll through my memories, they could get lifetimes of education. Because like a tree, my soul is spread out. You're all my favorite albums. I'm the case you live inside. I still take you out and play you as I drive. Flying down the dirt roads with a bear cub and a peregrine, my heroine beside. The greatest gift this world created is the illusion of goodbye. You're either with me or you will be cast aside. Either way, you are all going to die. And I will wake up fine when it's time to do it all again. From now until forever, I'm Kehasa Francois O'Brien.